listening to the voice of freedom, Lee Elci, on 94.9 News Now and stimulating talk.
All right, everyone, welcome back. Special guest. We don't get a lot of chances to talk to this next gentleman. I mean, he's all over the media, and he's one of the heavy hitters in Hartford. Senator Sampson is joining us right now. Senator, good morning, buddy. How are you?
Good morning, Lee. Thanks for having me.
I appreciate you, man. I was watching you and Senator Harding the other day, and, you're hammering away at all kinds of... And I was actually watching live your debate about housing. Oh, my God. How do you not want to just bang your head against the concrete floor when you hear some of the senators talk about some of this stuff? But anyway, that's a whole...
Yeah, no, it's hard. I've gotten a lot better over the years. I used to take everything very personally when I first started out, but these days, you realize you do what you can, and that's it.
I mean, I was watching, like I said, I was watching it live as it was happening, and Senator Marks was saying some things, and I'm literally sitting there, and I caught myself staring at the screen with my mouth open. Like for 10 seconds, I couldn't believe what was coming out of her mouth. But anyway, that's a whole different topic. I wanted to talk to you today about you guys getting together and trying to fight the corruption in Hartford, which seemingly is growing even, more and more as we learn more about this. So can you give everybody sort of a breakdown of what you're finding out and what you're trying to do?
Sure. It's remarkable, to be frank, Lee. The number, just the sheer number, the volume of different items related to corruption coming from the majority Democrats in Hartford. Through every branch of government, it seems like every day there's another news story about another thing going on. And we're talking about actual criminal corruption. I can tell you all about the legal corruption like they perpetrated on the opening day of the legislative session, where they gave the governor a blank check to spend $330 million taxpayer dollars with basically no oversight. That doesn't even qualify as illegal corruption. This other stuff is, misuse of earmarked money. You have people that are connected to the administration. You had Costas Diamantis, who was the guy in charge of the education grants, the school construction projects, caught red-handed, sentenced for fraud, bribery, I think. So, I mean, pretty serious kind of stuff. We had a big expose about earmarks, and almost every day now we're learning more and more. You have Mark Fitch, an inside investigator, reporting just recently about these organizations that were receiving taxpayer money that you can't even identify them.
Right.
They don't have a website. They're not on the Secretary of State list. I mean, how is this happening, right? So we're very focused on trying to clean this up. Expose it for what it is. I think it's the Democrats being in charge for decades, controlling every lever of government. I think they're cocky. I think that they're trying to help out their friends. They're expanding government. They're, one hand washes the other kind of thing. And now I think a lot of it's being exposed, and I think that's a good thing.
I do think it's a good thing, and I'm glad you guys are trying to chip away at that power, that immense power that they have, because like absolute power, it corrupts. Absolutely. We know that it happens. And, I was on the Capitol Report about a month ago, and we had been talking about this then. And I did a little research, since Rowland left office, I think it's 10 or 11 state legislators have been arrested for different charges. Half of them were corruption charges in some way, shape, or form. And they were all Democrats, Senator, all of them.
Yeah,
and it's just one after another, after another, after another. And it's frustrating as to when people will wise up and figure out that this is not the road they should go down when they go to vote in November.
Right. Also election fraud. The argument I hear from people on the left is that there's no such thing all the time.
Right.
Until I pull it up on the internet, the last 20 people convicted of election fraud. They're all Democrats, of course.
And how about, didn't they just give the woman who was last caught an award the other day? They gave her an award for something, and she was the last one stuffing the ballot boxes.
Wanda from Bridgeport. Yeah, she's being honored for Black History Month by some organization down there. I mean, apparently that's how that party works.
Incredible.
If you're able to be a mover and shaker and move the needle, legally or otherwise, apparently you become a hero institutionally.
Senator Rob Sampson is with us, and we're lucky to get him. I know he's busy. Session is happening. So what do you guys plan on doing? How do you attack this corruption? Because, if you root it out and you can expose it, I think those people can either get charged or they can be removed. How does that work?
Well, I mean, the big problem that we face is that because the Democrats have been in power for so long and they do control every lever of power, they also control, like every doorway that you'd want to get behind to see what's happening. It's hard to know exactly what's going on inside the executive branch of government. In fact, we have the same problem when it comes time to like coming up with an alternative to the Democrats' budget. It's like, I don't really know what's going on in any particular state agency on a micro level. I know it as a line item in a budget. To know actually what's really happening, that's a different thing altogether. And I think that that's a big part of this corruption issue, too. I mean, think about Trump, getting elected and, trying to expose the deep state and the swamp and all that and coming out with Doge. That's what we need in Connecticut. We need to elect a Republican governor. I think that's a far easier lift than trying to get a Republican majority, which we're working on every step of this, every day. But if we elect a Republican governor, I think that we might have the ability to see inside the executive branch of government in a way that will really upend a lot of this stuff and to the benefit of Connecticut residents.
Yeah, it's so many different cases, little cases, the semaphore, or this case, or even the project, the wind project, all these things that either were way over budget or semi-quasis, and you've got the energy side of this with Pura, et cetera. It's just nonstop. It's one thing after another. And I wish the people, and I hate to say it like this, Senator, but I wish the people, because the people are the ultimate decider, the people listening to me and you right now, I wish they would wise up. Again, I point to November. It's right around the corner. And elect different people. If you want different results, you got to elect different people.
Amen. There's certainly some wise people out there. I think the people listening to your program, are wise. It's just the fact that I think that there's a lot of people that don't pay attention for a lot of reasons. They're busy, work, daily life comes first. Maybe they think that their vote doesn't matter, that they can't make a difference on their own. I'm here to tell them, absolutely. If you go back to 2009, I was just a guy yelling at my TV.
Right.
And 2010, I got elected to the state house,
Yep.
and now I'm, in the leadership of the Senate Republicans in the state Senate, helping to decide, what we're doing and leading the charge to root out corruption and hold the Democrats accountable in our state. So anybody can do it as long as they're committed and they're willing to put the work in. Politics is like the easiest thing on earth to get into, Lee. They say it's showbiz for ugly people, right?
Exactly. All right, one more from me. Like I said, I know you're busy. So session obviously is happening. I was just talking about the housing bill. It doesn't look like that's going to be augmented, or it's going to go as is, right? I mean, we're not going to get anything better out of that unless something miracle happens, correct?
Well, I mean, they're going to come back and work around the edges of the big 8002 bill that they did last year. But they have another insane, crazy proposal out there called SB 151, which basically is back to the full-on, complete, utter takeover of local zoning control. And, I mean, really, it's going to mandate that people have to accept building lots of 1/10 of an acre. I mean, towns will be forced to change their character overnight. It's not a good bill by any means.
Yeah.
What worries me is that, the Democrats, they keep pushing the envelope all the time, Lee, and lately the thing with them is these emergency certified bills, which they were doing in special session and so forth. Opening day this year, which is normally just a day of, pomp and circumstance and we all got together. No, they rammed through a terrible bill on opening day. And we're supposed to come back next week, actually, for another emergency certified bill. And I'm thinking to myself, what are you doing? We're in session. There's hearings going on right now. Go through the process already. Yeah.
It's not okay. What they're doing is not okay, and the people need to be aware of it. And that's great what you guys are trying to do. And again, with the new leadership in the Senate, I'm not taking a shot at the past leadership, but the new leadership with Senator Harding, you guys are out there. You guys are vocal. You guys are making a presence. So keep doing that. And Rob, I thank you. Get back to work, and I'll talk to you next time. Appreciate you.
I really appreciate the opportunity. Thanks for having me.
All right, man. Senator Rob Sampson.